Hi, this is Julian, Pro Tools Expert. Today, we're going to have a look at this button up here. Wait for the tooltip. It says Link Track and Edit Selection. What does that mean and what can you do with it? Okay, so it links your track and your edit selection. Clue is very much in the name here. What that means is wherever your track selection is, your edit selection will be, and wherever your edit selection is, your track selection will be. A track selection is whichever track you have selected. By clicking on the name of the track in the track header, you can select. You can also do it from the tracks list here. And the blue highlight and white highlight, respectively, indicate which tracks are selected. If I add Shift, I can do a contiguous selection. If I add Command, I can do a non-contiguous selection. If I use Option, I can just select everything. But they're all track selections. An edit selection is something like this with the Selector tool. This highlighted section on the timeline is my edit selection. If I move that, we'll come back to how I did that in a second, and perform an edit operation, like for example, I'll just cut that section there, my edit selection has been edited. That's why it's called the edit selection. How did I move that edit selection? I did it by using these command focus. As long as this up here is highlighted in orange, keyboard focus, and I can use various single keystroke shortcuts which are really useful. One of the most useful is pressing P or semicolon. Those two keys are above and below each other, and by pressing P I can move my edit selection up, and by pressing semicolon I can move my edit selection down very usefully without moving it from side to side. Okay. Do also keep in mind that something like this, a flashing line, that's called the insertion point. That's an edit selection. It's just an edit selection that has 0 duration. But it's still an edit selection. I can move it up and down using P or semicolon. Okay, so what does the button Link, Track and Edit Selection do? Well, what it does is it moves my selected track with my edit selection. So if I switch it on, here we go, and you'll see that wherever my edit selection is, or my insertion point in this case, is also the track that's selected. And if I select a different track, that's where my edit selection goes to. All right, so how's that useful? Well, here's how it's useful. If I make an edit selection, and I'll move that up, I'll press P, and I'll start playback. Okay, if I want to solo that track, I could come over here and click this S button over here for solo, but if I hit Shift and S, the selected track will be soloed. And if I press it again, it'll be unsoloed. So you can toggle track solo or track mute or record arm or input monitor. All of those buttons which are in this track header, these 4 buttons, can be toggled by using Shift S, Shift M, Shift I, or Shift R. And rather than having to do that using a mouse or come over and click on the track that I want to be selected, I can dictate which one it is from here. So if I want to solo this clean guitar, Shift S. If I want to solo this one, Shift S again. If I want unsolo, there we are. If I want to mute, or actually I'll solo my Hammond, there we are. If I want to mute it, there we are. And the same for record arm, and same for input monitor. It's a really quick way of getting around in Pro Tools, particularly if you're used to using these command focus shortcuts. So there you are, Link, Track and Edit Selection. Really useful because it cuts down your use of the mouse, which means you can be quicker and more fluent in Pro Tools.